Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC 315, Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. And yeah, we're going to predict all the fights, or you watching, me predicting. Going to predict all the fights on the card, start to finish. So in our first fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Daniel Santos versus Zhang Yang Li. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Daniel Santos to beat Zhang Yang Li. Zhang Yang Li is the taller, probably larger man. I think like 5'10". I think Santos like 5'8", 5'7". But, you know, a notable size, like height advantage. But I don't think Daniel Santos is going to be on the wrong end of strength so much in this one. I think Daniel Santos is the better grappler here. I think he's a more technical striker. I feel like Zhang Yang Li hasn't shown the best takedown defense. Hasn't shown the best IQ, especially in his last fight. He was clearly getting rocked, but all he did was keep his chin up in the air, go back to swing. Like, he had multiple chances, multiple warning signs that, like, hey, I'm getting rocked, let me recover, let me use my feet. But I don't think he even has footwork like that to begin with. But either way, you're getting rocked, you know, cover up, move your head, do something. Like, it was like, never clicked in his brain to do that. He just kept going to the fight. You know, he was getting the worst of it every single time and got put out in the first round against Hyder Emil, who's a good fighter, but still, no matter how good a fighter is, if you're fighting him and you're getting pieced up, it's not like, oh, he's so good, I couldn't help but trade with him. No, it's like, you're getting pieced apart. Your IQ kind of kick in and like say, oh, this is not going well for me, time to get out of here and change my approach. But that never occurred for him. And even if you fire, you maybe can move your head a little bit when you trade it, but you stand up, chin in the air, swinging, like, and it's not going your way, and at no point did it occur to you, like, I got to do something different. But yeah, Zhang Yang Li, not the most technical striker, but he does have size, he does have power. I'm not going to say I would say again, Santos is a better striker, better grappler. Zhang Li just bigger, he has power and that leads potential. And Santos can get in these big wild brawls at times as well. You know, coming from that shooter box background, that's like part of their nature. So it could easily end up being that happening, like one of them getting knocked out that way. But I favor Daniel Santos here. He's not the one coming off getting knocked out. I wasn't super impressed with his performance last time, but it was a dominant performance. And again, I think he's a more well-rounded fighter and more technical, cleaner, sharper fighter. Zhang Li will have a little bit of size, a little bit more, I'm not going to say more power, but he does have power and you got to respect it. So that's something that could happen here. And again, Daniel Santos hasn't really fully proven himself to me right now, so that's going to keep my confidence low, but I do like him as the better overall fighter. I say this goes the distance. I think Daniel Santos will be the one that will mix it up more and not trade as much. I think he'll be willing to trade and get in those exchanges more, but he'll be the one to be able to mix it up more, you know, so that he gets his hand raised in this fight. So in this one, I got Daniel Santos via decision. Now to our next fight. We have in the light heavyweight division, we got Bukauskas versus Iwan Cutelaba. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Bukauskas to beat Iwan Cutelaba. I think Cutelaba's a solid fighter. Definitely rough striking. And I think that causes issue for Bukauskas, but I think Bukauskas will win. The grappling's could be a concern as well. But Bukauskas' issue has not really been his grappling, to be honest. So I think he could do a good job of defending the takedowns of Cutelaba. Then he'll be the longer, more technical striker here. And it's not like Cutelaba's a big puncher either. If Cutelaba was an aggressive big puncher, that'd be an issue for Bukauskas. But Cutelaba, like, he got power and whatnot, but he's not like really a one-punch guy. He's not really a one-punch anything. Like, he's really this in-your-face type of grinder type of fighter. And even that, he's not even technical at that or not consistent with his technique at that. But one of you can count on Cutelaba, he's going to try to get in your face. You know, try to put his hands on you, try to take you down, you know, whatever works. But again, he's not a big puncher. He's not some great submission artist, particularly. And I think Bukauskas can address the grappling. I think he can address the striking. I think he's the much more technical striker of the two. And again, I think if Cutelaba was a bigger puncher or was like some real, well, I wouldn't even say real proficient grappler. He was like a supreme proficient grappler. Yeah, that'd be a different. Like, oh, you're Damian Maia, yeah, you're gonna submit Bukauskas, or you're like Charles Oliveira, or you're like Khabib. Obviously, yeah, you know, there's levels to the game, but I just feel like level of Cutelaba's wrestling and grappling, I don't think it's at a level where, you know, he's going to be able to pose such a finishing threat to Bukauskas. Or his ground and pound, I don't feel like it's at a level where it's going to be such a big threat. I mean, it's a threat, but as far as like, is it a threat that I say, oh, he's going without a doubt take him down and smash him, or he's going without a doubt take him down? Like, no. It's like, it's at a level where I feel like Bukauskas can deal with, as far as Cutelaba's pressure, as far as his striking, as far as his grappling, as far as his ground and pound, all that. I think Bukauskas can address that. Probably hold Cutelaba to maybe like 3 takedowns or less, and maybe like maybe 4 minutes of control time, which is good enough to make it a competitive fight and maybe a controversial decision, but I don't think it's enough to make it clear, so I think that's a fight Bukauskas win. I say it goes the distance, very close fight, but Bukauskas addressing the grappling, landing the cleaner strikes, and doing a good job of not getting, pushed against the cage as much. And even against the cage, I think he'd been landing some good elbows, some good knees, and probably catch some Travis Brown elbows, little elbows when Cutelaba trying to go for like a double, and he just hip out and throw some elbows on the side of the head. Maybe hurt Cutelaba with some of those. But either way, Bukauskas is addressing Cutelaba's game and being a cleaner striker and landing the cleaner damage and controlling the tempo of the fight better and winning the decision here. So in this one, I have Modestas Bukauskas via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Navajo Stirling versus Ivan Erslan. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence Navajo Stirling to beat Ivan Erslan. So Erslan, what is he really? I can't even say he has any respectable grab. I'm not going to say he has no respectable grab, but as far as like a realistic threat, not really as far as in the grab department. Striking wise, he's a slower, less technical striker here. And I've seen some of his fights, like outside of fights with Kansas that he knocked out in the first round. And like as far as fights that he won, he has not really shown me much on the feet. I don't feel like his chin is all that great. I feel like he's very stiff on the feet. He at least has a jab to some extent, but nothing special. I feel like, again, and Stirling has a much more fleshed out striking game. So that little jab that Erslan has, that's not even that good. Yeah, I don't think there's nothing particularly special here. So yeah, and Erslan has been typically, he's been able to go 5 rounds. So he don't have bad cardio, but again, I don't feel like his pace is something spectacular. I feel like his striking is very limited. I feel like his chin's not that durable. And the grappling threat is very limited, if any. So I feel like Stirling should be able to, just really have a striking match with Erslan and just be able to pick him apart and put him away in the second round. That's what I really see. I just don't feel like Ivan Erslan really matches up well with Stirling. I think this is a good fight for Stirling to, get a good highlight on his record. So in this one, I have Navajo Stirling via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, we got Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jasudavicus. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Jasmine Jasudavicus to beat Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade, she's actually, I think, younger than Jasmine Jasudavicus still. And she's still a solid fighter. Like, we can't act like she was a former champion. We can't act like she was not a problem at 125 and 115. And even at 135, she was a bit of a problem for us sometimes. So she's been a problem at 3 different divisions, particularly at 15 and also at 25. But she's been a problem. If Jasmine Jasudavicus stands there too long or gets a little overconfident, she can get caught. If she underestimates her wrestling and this thing's going to be easy takedowns, if she doesn't train her hardest for this fight, this could definitely end up going very bad for her. Like, again, Andrade is still alive. It's not like Andrade is 37, 38. It's not like Andrade is, she's just so washed. Nah, I think Andrade is still good. She might not be at her best right now, but who knows? It could all play a factor that, maybe her confidence in this, maybe her confidence in that, or whatever. And then she finds what she's been missing, or she had an injury that we didn't know about. I think her flaws were still what they were, but again, she's live here. But I will say Jasmine because she's in Canada. She's like the biggest, contender in women's MMA in Canada. This is a spot fight in Canada. I think she wants to come in her best. I think she'll come in motivated. She's definitely not a spot where she's going to overlook her. Because it's also like Jasmine Jasudavicus is just like this 26-year-old chick who, everything in her life been going right for her, and she just got a, inflated ego. Jasmine Jasudavicus, again, she's actually older than Andrade. This is her, this is your time to shine. Like, she can't afford to go out there and mess this up. Like, she's not she's not this young, green chick that's just getting this opportunity for the first time and everything's been going her way. Like, she has losses. She's older than Andrade. Like, so she by no means is she mistaken, like, everything's going to be laid out for her. Like, so I think she's put in the work. I think she's going to go out there looking the best she's ever looked and looking to make a statement against Andrade. I don't think she finished Andrade, but I do think she'll be able to exploit the takedowns and get a large amount of control time on Andrade. Still think it's a close competitive fight. I think some of those takedowns will be a bit of a struggle. I think she'll end up striking a little bit more than she wants to strike, but ultimately I think she'll be able to find the ways to get to those takedowns. And it's not like Andrade really has so much off her back. It's not like she has some great guillotine, some arm bars. Like, she don't really have too much submissions off her back. So I think once Jasmine Jasudavicus could probably get past maybe a couple guillotines, which aren't the best guillotines, I think she should be able to get to some good control and be able to hold Andrade down for good large moments of control time, get some good ground and pound off. But I don't think she'll be able to finish Andrade. But I do think that she'll be able to win a clear competitive fight. Winning the control time and landing good damage and on top. So in this one, I have Jasmine Jasudavicus via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, we got Mike Malott versus Charles Radtke. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Mike Malott to beat Charles Radtke. And Yeah, I just think Mike Mayott's the better overall fighter. I know a lot of people, always saying, "Oh, the Gore fight, the Gore fight." For every single fighter that ever fought Gore, is like everybody brings up the Gore fight. Oh, Drake struggled against Gore. Oh, Carlos Prates struggled against Gore. A lot of people struggled against Gore. Mike Mayotte didn't really struggle against Gore. He just didn't finish him. But he fought a smart, conservative fight, and that he was ahead of the whole time. So unlike Drake, he wasn't struggling against him. Unlike Prates, he wasn't struggling against him. But yeah, Shevchenko Gore is a tough fighter to deal with, at least early. But Mike Mayotte just extended the fight, didn't give Gore nothing really worked with him. He just beat him everywhere. Radtke, we saw him struggle with Mike Mateta, or what's his name? Adesanya's training partner, who's just a one-dimensional striker and not even getting that one dimension. But I'm getting all over the place. But yeah, I just think it's in Canada. I think Mike Mayott's the better overall fighter. I think he's the better striker. I definitely think he's the better grappler here. I do think this could be a competitive fight. Let me see. Could it be a finish? Would he sub? I say goes another decision. I think he's going to fight smart here. Because Radtke does got power. Radtke does have some solid grappling skills of his own. So I don't think Mike Mayott's going to want to blow his wad like he did with against Neil Magny. Like he was dominating Neil Magny for like 80% of that fight until he wasn't. So I don't think it's a case of where Mike Mayotte wants to drain his gas. Like, I think it'll kind of be like the Tresean Gore fight a bit, maybe a little bit easier, but still a competitive fight where Mike Mayotte picking his shots well, setting up his takedowns well, and is dictating the pace and beating Radtke everywhere, like setting the striking up, mixing in the grappling, getting the top position, trying to set up his own submissions. If he can't get it, he's not going to force nothing. Good again, a competitive fight, but Mike Mayotte just been a step ahead in every department of this fight and beating Radtke by decision here. So in this one, I got Mike Mayotte via decision. Now to our next fight. Let's see. We got plenty more left. We got in the middleweight division, we got Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm actually going low confidence Bruno Silva to beat Marc-Andre Barriault in Canada, the Canadian in Canada, and Bruno Silva, who's looking completely watchable. But Barriault is not looking so much better either. If anything, he's looking a little bit worse. Barriault is coming off 2 knockout losses, and that's never a good look. And he's going there for another guy who hits hard. He might be washed, might be a little bit unmotivated, but it's not like Barriault was ever that guy. And Barriault, I think, consistently always kind of had like a bad chin, even prior. But yeah, I got to go Bruno Silva, especially with Barriault coming off 2 knockout losses. It's not like Barriault's some good offensive takedown guy. It's not like Barriault's fast. Barriault's like a slow grinder type fighter that will put the volume on you over time. But he's not a guy that's going to be so good at getting takedowns. If anything, he's been a guy that has had very questionable takedown defense and has lost a lot of his fights. Like one half of his losses have been him getting taken down and out grappled, and the other half of his losses have been him getting chinned. And I think Bruno Silva aligns more to that half of where he's being chinned, and that's the half that he's currently on, where he's coming off 2 fights where he got knocked out. And I think both were like in the first round. Well, last one was in the first round, but yeah. I think the style that Barriault will have him in position to be hit, and I still think Bruno Silva, the power don't go away. The motivation might go away, but the power is still there. And I think Bruno Silva will be able to find his chin and put him out in the first round. So, in this one, I have Bruno Silva via first round TKO. Now on to our next fight. We have in the bantamweight division, we got Brad Katona versus Bekzat Almakhan. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going Bekzat Almakhan, low confidence to beat Brad Katona. Yeah, Brad Katona's a good all-around fighter. He has a good chin, never been knocked out. I think he might have been rocked maybe like 2-3 times in his whole career. Maybe dropped maybe like once. So he has shown a good 30 chin. He has had a long career. Still only 33. Good all-around fighter. Can mix up the grappling, which I think could be a concern for Bekzat Almakhan. But yeah, I'll go Bekzat. I think Bekzat shows decent enough takedown defense. Obviously, Umar Nurmagomedov is just a different level. I think Umar is just on a way different level than Brad Katona. And that was on short notice, but now Almakhan has a full camp to train for Brad Katona. So I think his takedown defense will be sharp. And obviously, Brad Katona is nowhere near the level of Umar Nurmagomedov. So that's 2 things right there. So I think he'll be able to address the takedowns enough for Katona. I think he'll be able to land the heavier strikes. I think this will be a competitive, close fight. I think it goes this time, but I think Bekzat will deal more damage, do a good job adjusting the wrestling. And again, landed the bigger shots, the more telling shots, and the more storytelling shots. Again, the shots that's going to be more perceived by the judges. And I do think that he'll be able to hurt Katona. I don't think he'll be able to put him out, but I think he will be able to hurt Katona at least once in this fight. I don't really see Katona being able to reciprocate that and hurt Almakhan at any point in this fight. But yeah, and also nothing about Brad Katona. In competitive fights in Canada, he's 0-2. Like the judges, well, I'm saying fights that went to a close decision in Canada, they both went again. What's happening? I'm like my nose kind of stopping up at the same time I'm talking, and I'm trying to talk over it. That's what's happening. I'm like, you're getting drowned while he's talking. Getting drowned by my own nose. But oh no. But yeah, I'll be over soon. I mean, this will be over, so I won't be over. The video will be over soon. But yeah, he's like 0-2 in close competitive fights that he had in Canada. The Armfield fight, in my opinion, should have went the way. It went against him in Canada, unanimously against him. The what's the name? Hunter Azor fight. I feel like Azor won rightfully, but it was a close fight, and it was in Canada. But they still did not give it to Katona. So 2 fights that were close and competitive in Canada, they did not give it to him. That's UFC fights. So he's 0-2 in competitive fights. He does have 1 win in Canada. Matter of fact, he's 1-3 overall in the fights in Canada while he was in the UFC. He's 1-3 in fights that were in Canada while he was in the UFC. And the one when he did, he clearly won that fight. It was not like it was a clear decision. So it's not like they gifted him anything in that one fight that he did win in Canada. So in fights that were competitive in Canada, he hasn't even been getting favored in Canada. So you can't act like the Canada advantage is going to come through for him. Like, it'd be weird that they wait this long to give it to him when there was better opportunities to give him wins in Canada. But yeah, that Canada national, whatever, countryman influence or on judging, it has not done him any favors, is almost say. So I think this is a close competitive fight, but I think Almakhan will come in ready. And I think he'll be motivated, off of how, the success he did have against Umar, who did go on to fight for the belt and put on a good performance against the still champion, Merab Dvalishvili. So I think Bekzat will see, I could be there. Like, I had that same guy hurt in the first round. My takedown defense wasn't up to par. I came in on short notice, and I still did that. So I think he'll be motivated. I think his takedown defense will be much better this time around. Again, and also fighting a lesser opponent will be to hurt him. Keep it close, keep it competitive. Probably will be looking for the finish, but Katona is tough. He's gritty. He's a dog. There's probably going to be a fight that's going to go to the wire. But I just think Bekzat's going to deal more damage, and that's what the judges are going to see. So in this one, I've got Bekzat Almakhan via decision. What's my phone even buzzing about? Timer's there. This is that, and that is that. All right, next fight we have in the bantamweight division. We got Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Ayman Zahabi to beat Jose Aldo. And a big shocker. But yeah, I'm going Ayman Zahabi to beat Jose Aldo. This is in Canada. Zahabi is the younger brother of Fiorot Zahabi, the biggest gym in the owner of the biggest gym in Canada as far as MMA goes. Fiorot Zahabi was called TriStar. Also, TriStar is a very good gym for game planning. And Aldo has shown now multiple times the blueprint to beat him. Who's beat him so far with that game plan? Volk, I think, was like the first one to use that game plan against him. At bantamweight, the first person to use it was Merab. And then now Bautista. So he has shown time and time again now that he could be walled and stalled and that he can be outworked. Zahabi is younger, not by much, but he's a lot hungrier. We got another case where we got this fighter who's still great in Jose Aldo, always going to be great. But what are you really fighting for? You just fighting for glory? Are you really fighting to be any bit better? Like, making probably a little slight improvements here and there, but really mostly he ain't going to get much better than what he is. And the game plan to beat him is already out there. Zahabi has way more hunger in him than Aldo, and he can make bigger leaps where Aldo is mostly going to be where he's at. Like, he's good and all, but he's aging. The tape is out there on him. And his motivation is not nearly as great as Zahabi's is. So I think Zahabi's going to do a good job of walling and stalling that time. Do a good job of piling up points. Probably try to implement a similar approach to Volkanovski. Probably like attack inside leg kicks. Probably looking to throw a couple overhands in there. Fall into the clinch. Push him against the cage. And might work behind the jab a little bit. But I do see it's a very close fight. Probably another split decision type beat. But the fact that, Zahabi is in Canada. The fact that he is directly related to the owner of the biggest gym in Canada. This is in Canada. I think all those things going to lead to him winning an equally close split decision over Jose Aldo. Like, Jose Aldo's, again, I'm not going to say too much, but I just think, I think Zahabi's going to make a good play. I think he's a skilled, great fighter, or a skilled fighter. Come from a gym where they make very good game plans. Fighting an older Aldo with nothing to prove and nothing to fight for, but just sticking around too long for no reason. Like, Aldo, win or lose, he's not going to win no belt no more. Like, I just can say that right now. He don't even have the hunger for real to win a belt or even really deservedly fight for a belt at this point. And again, he just kind of sticking around for the love of the game. Whereas Zahabi, he never was champion. He's not the guy with the most defenses at any weight class. He never touched the UFC belt. So this guy has way more hunger, and he's way less predictable because, again, we've seen Aldo on top for not decades, but we've seen Aldo on top for like 8 years. We've seen Aldo fighting for like 30 years. Maybe not everybody, but especially probably like guys like Zahabi. He probably seen Aldo and been studying him, fanning him since he first came up. So he'll come in with a great game plan. And I know Fiorot will come in with a game. I say, why can't I speak English? My nose stuffing up. I'm swallowing off. What's happening here? I'm getting an allergy to making videos. I got to pull out injury. But yeah, I'm going to talk less and just say Zahabi decision. So in this one, Fiorot Zahabi via decision. Allergies kicking my butt and I'm not even outside. Like, what's going on? Next fight we have in the women's flyweight division, we got Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence Natalia Silva to beat Alexa Grasso. Yeah. I just feel like, as I said, like my nose getting stuffed up, it's getting annoying now. I'm just gonna get to the point with this one. I think Natalia Silva is the better raw fighter. I think she has better takedown defense. I think she's quicker, she's younger, more dynamic striker. And I think she'll be to beat Grasso to the punch and to the kick. I do think that Grasso is game. She is live, but I think this is a fight that Natalia Silva should win. I'm not going to say she will win dominantly, but again, I think she's just a better overall fighter than Grasso. Again, she's younger. And really what Grasso has won a lot of fights, not that she's been such a good grappler outside of the Shevchenko fight. And she really couldn't even get clean takedowns against Shevchenko. It was like Shevchenko, when she would do the spinning back kick, Grasso would take advantage of that. So Grasso has never really been a great offensive takedown person. Never that. So I think Silva would have better grappling than her, in my opinion. Definitely has better takedown defense. Where Grasso really has, outside of the Shevchenko win, where she has thrived for the most part has been, her boxing. And a large part of her boxing has not even been that technical. It's been the fact that she's been so much faster than her opponents. But now she's fighting a person who's younger than her and a lot faster than her. And that's going to be a different thing for her. It's not like Grasso consistently has power anyway. I can't even think of many times when Grasso has legitimately hurt people outside of Shevchenko. So, yeah, Grasso's not really a big puncher. She's been getting by a lot on her speed. Now she's fighting a person who's younger and faster than her and more dynamic than her. Better takedown than her and better overall BJJ than her. So yeah, I just think this is a case where with Grasso kind of meeting herself, but a better version of herself, younger, hungrier version of herself. And Natalia Silva is going to show her that. And I think Natalia Silva beats her by decision. Not a one-dimensional fight. Definitely not a watch by any means, but I just think Natalia Silva will win. Probably land like 20, 30 more strikes. I'm going to say about 20 more strikes. So, in this one, I got Natalia Silva via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the co-main event in the women's flyweight division for the undisputed women's flyweight title. We got Valentina Shevchenko versus Manny Fiorot. And how I feel about this right here is I'm going low confidence Manny Fiorot to beat Valentina Shevchenko. I don't feel like Shevchenko's striking has been looking all that good in her last couple fights. You can say that Manny Fiorot is no Shevchenko, but Shevchenko is not who she used to be either. Like, she's up there. But yeah, she's like, there's a lot of tape on her. Women have been trying to, training to beat her for years now. That's what happens when you're a champion for a long time, when you're around for a long time. Everybody's looking at you. First, it's probably his fans, probably his admirers. And then they start saying, I want to be a fighter too. I want to be better than her. They start studying your every move, just like Grasso was able to pick up on the fact that she leaves her back open when she does a spinning back kick. And she saw how she, this fighters see your weaknesses, especially if they would, in general. But again, I'm yapping way too much. I do think Shevchenko's a better fighter, but again, she's getting up there in age. And there's a lot of tape out there, and people have been studying to beat her for a long time. And it's not like she's been looking her best. Like, she really beat Grasso in the second fight, or third fight, by just taking her down. Her striking didn't look that good. She was getting rocked up in the second fight. It was her grappling, especially in the third fight, that won her the fight. She got like 8 takedowns and had like a huge chunk of control time. Fiorot is the bigger, stronger fighter in this fight. I think she'll do a good job of at least stuffing the takedowns to Shevchenko. Maybe holding Shevchenko to 1 takedown at most. Fiorot has good cardio. She's a cardio kickboxer. Big, strong cardio kickboxer. I think she'll be able to put up more value than Shevchenko. And I think studying Shevchenko, and there's been so much tape out there on Shevchenko and so many years to study Shevchenko, I think she'll do a better job of addressing Shevchenko's strength than Shevchenko addressing Fiorot's strength. And I think it's mostly going to come down to who can land the most strikes. It's going to turn into a point fight. And Fiorot at this point is just, she's just looking sharper on the feet at this moment. And she's been putting out more volume than Shevchenko on average over these past couple years. Like, Shevchenko is not who she used to be. Like, she's still good. Although she was able to get her belt back, but she's not who she used to be. And again, she's still a great fighter. She's still champion. So even not being who she used to be, she still managed to get the belt back. But I didn't think that Manny Fiorot's going to be able to capitalize on all those things and be able to, again, address the grappling, maybe hold her to one takedown, and no real great control, no good great ground and pound, no great submission attempts or nothing like that. Probably like one takedown, she might be able to hold her down for like 30 seconds or something. And that'd be the only takedown Shevchenko gets. She might go for like 6 or 7. Get like maybe a 2 minutes of control time over the 25 minutes against the cage. And get like one takedown, which she might get at max like 30 seconds. So not much factoring there in the grappling department. And Fiorot might later on get a takedown, exploiting the fact that Shevchenko does give her back when she does spinning back kick and take her down. I think Fiorot's going to probably have like 2 takedowns. And she's probably going to have like 2-3 minutes of good clean control time. And maybe like 5 minutes of cage control. You know, like controlling her against cage, clinch control against cage. But yeah, I think Manny Fiorot's going to be able to, again, address the grappling and just be the busier fighter and land the more shots. And that's going to get her hand raised against Shevchenko. So in this one, I got Manny Fiorot via decision. Now on to our main event, we have in the welterweight division for the undisputed UFC welterweight championship, we got Belal Muhammad, reigning champion, versus Jack Della Maddalena, the title challenger. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Belal Muhammad to beat Jack Della Maddalena. Yeah, this feel like a fight Belal should win. It should be like average confidence. But, you know, there's a couple factors. Like, Jack Della Maddalena does have the better striking. He is very durable. And all it does is take one shot or one combination. It's not like Belal's got as, you know, been this undefeated beast. He has definitely had times where he's been stopped and knocked out. Or, well, he's been knocked out one time. That's by Vicente Luque. He was picked apart by Alan Jobon. He was picked apart by Jeff Neal. So there have been fights he has been picked apart. The most recent one being the Jeff Neal fight. But, you know, he's been great ever since that fight. But yeah, another thing that factors into this prediction maybe not being the confidence that should be is Belal, you know, the streak that he's been on it as an underdog. Like, he was like an underdog in like 7 straight fights. And this is the first fight that he's not an underdog. And he's a notable favorite. It's not like no pick'em favorite. He's like a minus 200 favorite. Minus 230 favorite. So how would that affect him? Like, is he going to lose his steam? He's going to lose his edge because he's not an underdog no more? He's going to get overconfident? And all it takes is a little bit of lapse and he runs into a knee. Or he starts striking on the feet too much, ends up with his back against the cage, and gets teed off on and gets knocked out. But I know a lot of people, the angle people say Maddalena, well, Leon Edwards did this. Jack Maddalena's grappling is nowhere near the level of Leon Edwards. So you think because Leon did this and Jack's a better Leon? Nah, he's not. Now, hopefully he never will be, so the dick suckers get off Maddalena, like trying like, oh, he's the top 5 striker of all time. Nah. Get off Jack Maddalena's dick. He's not that guy. But he does have opportunity here, and he does have some chances. If he addresses the grappling good enough, he definitely has a lot of opportunity on the feet. If Muhammad comes in any bit less sharp, again, he's very live here. But I do think Belal is a better overall fighter. It's not like Jack Della Maddalena has shown great takedown offense. He was like probably like 2 minutes away from losing to a washed Gilbert Burns. He went life and death with a mediocre fighter on short notice. So, and I'm thinking any fight Jack Della Maddalena has shown such great takedown defense. So I think Belal will be able to exploit that takedown offense. And if anything, Leon Edwards has shown way better grappling than Jack Della Maddalena. Has shown way better takedown offense. Has actually beat real solid wrestlers like Usman and Covington. Jack Della, like, what a good wrestler have you fought? And you've been struggling in the grappling department. Like, you fought a good BJJ player in Gilbert Burns, but you never fought a great wrestler. So I just think Belal will be able to have great success taking Jack Della Maddalena down, pressing. And I think this could be very similar to the Vicente Luque fight. If not a little bit better or a little bit worse. But I feel like it's kind of very much lining up with the Vicente Luque fight. And I think Vicente Luque actually has better grappling and better takedown defense than Jack Della Maddalena. His chin's not as good as Jack Della Maddalena. But roughly the same stylistic matchup in my opinion. Matter of fact, Vicente Luque has way better grappling than Jack Della. He actually has go-to submissions. Jack Della Maddalena don't have no go-to submissions that he can hit at a high level. So, but again, Maddalena has steam. There's some hoodoo voodoo that could be going around this with the fact that Muhammad now is the favorite for the first time in years in like 7 fights. But yeah, as far as predicting wise, I'll go Belal Muhammad to be able to be mobile, mixing the combinations, get the level change well, combine his strikes with his takedowns well, and not be a stationary target for Jack Della Maddalena to tee off on or really get anything going. And then when Jack Della Maddalena starts to get aggressive, starts to try to get his strikes going, and oftentimes he is kind of like running with his he's like running with his punches a lot of times. So you will be off balance. So if Muhammad can time that when Della Maddalena is moving and throwing combinations, the takedowns would be pretty easy to get or easier to get, especially for a guy of the caliber of Muhammad. And I think he can draw that out, like be moving, throwing high kicks, sticking the jab. Maddalena, getting a little bit frustrated or feeling he has to make something happen and had to start drawing in combination and moving. Then Muhammad will be able to draw that out, level change, get right to the hip, put him on his butt multiple times, and be able to control him, break him down with ground and pound, and wear him down over the course of 25 minutes. I don't think he stops him, but I do think he wears him down and is just a better overall fighter and will get his hand raised via decision after 25 minutes. So in this one, I have Belal Muhammad via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC 315, Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.